Alright, guys.
Okay.
Episode 1-1.
That's pretty cool.
11.
11, man. The 11th hour has come.
And passed.
Yeah.
That's the name of the girl from Stranger Things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just before you keep on talking, at 6:30 in the morning now, and I have to be a little bit more silent because my parents are sleeping in the next room, so I'm gonna whisper more this episode.
I think it's gonna sound cool. So this is like the smooth episode. So we're talking like after hours, after hour mood.
Yeah.
Except for me, it's the middle of the day, but it's not really that moody over here.
Alright, guys. We've been waiting to talk about Endgame for
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yes. So just for the listeners again, should we do it every episode, introduction and where we are?
I'm game for people being really confused and not knowing who anyone is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool.
I don't mind, or we make the introduction at some point. I don't know.
To me, introductions, if it's about like, hey, I'm this person, sounds a little weird to me. Like sounds a little bit like I don't care for it personally. Even though I've been in podcasts that I don't know who's who for the longest time, to be honest. Like that's happened, but it's true. Not really like
that's true.
An issue, I think. But some people really care about that because they want to follow specific people, I guess. But about being like, this is officially casually, welcome to our podcast. We came here to sell you words for free. Then I like introductions in that manner.
All right, Jaco. So you start. Where do you want to start on Endgame?
Okay, man, like finally we can talk about Endgame. First of all, the spoiler thing. Did somebody spoil it for you?
Yes, we're gonna spoil the entire movie. So this is the official spoiler cast about Avengers Endgame.
Right. We're gonna explain like the whole movie, like every second of the 3 hours.
Scene by scene. Actually, I remember all the words, so I would be doing the words of the characters. Only the female characters, because I don't know, my voice is not that good for the male characters, so that's how we're gonna do.
But Rafa, but it's actually, first of all, it's a really good warning for the listeners that, this is gonna be, some spoiler bombs for Endgame. I don't know if we're gonna stick the whole time for the movie, probably not, but still, Rafa, did somebody spoil the movie for you?
Not really. I don't.
Cool.
I feel like there was something someone told me, but then when I watched the movie, I just didn't care. I think, I don't feel like. That said, throughout most of the movie, I don't really feel like I was really surprised by many things. So maybe I did like see something, and I don't know, maybe it just fell into my subconscious. I don't know, but I think in general, I think it was harder to avoid maybe like Game of Thrones stuff than it was to avoid
that's true
stuff from Endgame.
Fuck yeah, of course, man. Game of Thrones is every time, man. Like it's a spoiler. Landmines are everywhere, every fucking where. But it makes sense.
Google News try to spoil me every single day, even though I told him don't tell me anything about Game of Thrones. Don't tell me anything. Every day, like new Game of Thrones things. Every day.
And I think the reason for that is that for the Marvel movies, or particularly for this one, we knew characters would come back. We knew that things that happened in Infinity War wouldn't stay permanent. So
yes,
we kind of like guessed enough that the landmines wouldn't be as profound, I guess. But in Game of Thrones, the series where anyone can die, it's very easy to just accidentally just bump into the landmine or bump into something that is not a spoiler, but you can infer a spoiler from it.
Yeah, that's the main problem.
Yeah, that's so true. Man. But especially the worst part is really like YouTube. You just go on YouTube, and then there are videos about Game of Thrones, and then in the titles are the fucking spoilers.
Oh shit.
Of course I'm gonna look when I see something familiar from Game of Thrones. Of course I'm gonna do that. And then I look at the fucking title, you know?
Actually,
And
I've been thinking about watching Game of Thrones just because I want to avoid as many landmines, but I'm like 20 hours off from the end, so
you could have done it in a
not
day.
easy to schedule in 20 hours.
Your
I didn't see the problem.
The last season you finished was 6?
I think it was the Hold the Door, like that.
Oh yeah, I think that was.
That's kind of the last thing I remember watching that was like big. I don't know if the war was before or after that, or the siege in the castle, which was a really nice scene.
The one in Castle Black.
Yes, with the Jon Snow fights and then the dog bites the face from the guy.
The one
is that Castle Black?
The one against Ramsay.
Yeah, that one. I saw that, but I don't know if that was before or after Hold Their Doors, so I don't remember.
I think that was maybe like around the same time. I don't remember actually. I remember. I think if you would have finished the previous season, you would know because something very particular happened on the later end that led up to this one. So I think it kind of sounds to me like you're one season behind, and then this one, so you're 16 hours behind.
16 hours, yes.
Yeah, because this one is just like 6 episodes. And then going back to Endgame, what about you, Edward? Like, do you feel like did anything get spoiled for you, or how early? First of all, how early did you go watch it?
I watched it like second week maybe, so it was pretty early, and nothing got spoiled for me directly. Actually, nothing got spoiled for me. But at the same time, I don't feel like I was surprised too much. Mm-hmm. After the first. Well, after they revealed like the solution was time travel, which makes sense, right? So you fix many things. Like I kind of my interest kind of got tempered a little bit because time travel is always like, all right, like
yeah,
I get it. And then as soon as it was time travel, I just kind of realized, okay, so this is like a video game, like we're going back to all the good scenes and. Like it gave me like really gamey vibes, like in, I guess movies do this also, and maybe they did it before games, like when they're trilogies and stuff like that. But like games that you get to the end, to the third game, and then you revisit like mechanics from the first games or worlds, and then it was like a love letter, to the people that's been like watching all the movies. Which I was reading an article about like the best moments because I wanted to refresh my mind a little bit. And I started seeing a lot of things that I didn't notice, how they tied to the other movies, especially like all the way to Captain America's dance, with Peggy. Like that was all the way from the first movie.
I think I also feel like it was all like in the same way also like a tribute to all the almost like celebrities that were all throughout the movies, because there were some pretty big celebrities that were part of some of the movies but didn't really like continue on with the series, and it was kind of like a moment for them to kind of like have a little bit of screen time on this kind of like finale.
That's also nice to see it that way. I have to be honest, for the time travel part, I really enjoyed it. Because, they didn't introduce time travel till like the last movie. So that's like, I was not like an old thing that they could have done from the beginning. They did it till like, they waited till the last moment actually like, hey, fuck, here's something that nobody thought of.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, the character that led up to that, he wasn't even in the previous movie, so they kind of like almost like removed that whole option of that whole quantum universe from the previous one by I don't know, not calling him for saving the planet. I don't know. I don't even know why he wouldn't be in that fight.
He was house arrest. House arrest, man.
Oh, maybe. But he was goofing around. He was goofing around
drums.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. They just don't like him. They just don't think that that's a real superpower.
Nah, man, I mean it's fine because it's fine because in Infinity Wars it happened everything spontaneously.
But I was gonna say, I feel like it's kind of funny considering that there's this glove that contains the things that power the very fabric of like time and space, that I feel like so many things that happened in the movie could have been avoided if people would have just like kind of like giving it a little more thought before like they snapped. Because I don't know, I feel like even Thanos, he could have been like, okay, this thing is gonna happen, and then just send me home, and then get rid of the glove. And then he would have been fine. He would have been chill, he wouldn't have been like close to dying. And at the same time, the like at the end of this one, when Tony like snaps his fingers, I was like, why didn't you just send the stones back? I thought that was like critical, that we needed to like put them back in their own timeline. Why wouldn't you be like, okay, get rid of these bad guys and then send the stones back in time, and then we're done?
Yeah, because how to call it? Thanos, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it makes more sense than you think, because look at Thanos, man. Look at Thanos. Nobody was able to fuck him up. And like basically every one of the last 22 movies came at the end fight. And nobody was able to fuck him up. The only thing that killed him was the glove.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody brought him down on his knees. Maybe besides Captain Marvel. But even she had like not the easiest time. So basically the only thing that could kill him and destroy him would have been the stones. So if they would have sent the stones back in time, then they would have to face still Thanos, man, and he would just wipe out.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, hey, Tony, just snap your fingers, get rid of Thanos, get rid of all the guys, like you did. The exact same thing that you did, plus send the stones back in time. And just done, Because I feel like Captain America, like, right before he went back in time, they were like, yo, you need to put the stones back exactly at the exact same time and place where we took them, or it's gonna like rip the fabric of like space and time, or whatever the hell's gonna happen. And I was like, how is that possible? You guys, it was like 6 of you or 7, and you had a shit time bringing them back. How are you gonna do it? How's one guy gonna do it? How's he gonna bring the stone back to the temple where you sacrifice the person, and then also put it back to where like Tony's dad is, and also the other ones that they took from New York and all that? I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like they had so much power in their hands, and they just like, unless there's like an instruction manual, and you can only make like certain things happen, and then you need to wait. There's like a cooldown or something. I don't know.
Sounds like reverse Dragon Ball Z to me. Instead of gathering the stones, like they could make a whole series, like a new cinematic universe of they taking stones back, right back to where they were. And then you could just make the entire story about that.
For sure, man. I mean, I fucking... you're right. It's like, how did he do that? But that would deserve like his own movie, totally. But man, it was just like a good final movie. I was a good final movie, man. I think my favorite scene of the whole movie, and I think of the whole MCU, was just fucking Captain America.
Darko's line, because he's gone, I think, again. My favorite part, if we're talking just about pure action, or the actual part that got me like to woo, was like the hammer, Captain America's hammer. And and you know why specifically, and this is a little bit of arrogance or maybe appreciation for what they did when he was fighting. I thought, why is he looks so lame fighting just with a shield against Thanos? Like, it makes almost no sense. I mean, he's a super soldier, but compared to these other people, like, he's, he looks so weak and lame. And then, like, a minute later, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna use this fucking hammer, right? So that part I really like because of that. And I feel like, I don't credit myself. I think they set up that scene so you would feel that, like, it looks weird, just this random guy throwing punches with a shield. And then they give him something to actually, like, fight, And that part was dope. Really dope.
Yeah, I agree. And when Thor took the hammer from his world, I was like, oh, but why? Now there's a Thor that's, like, hammerless. But then it was all like a build up to that scene, like you said.
Yeah, actually, I don't know how that one works either.
They also said, that Captain America brought the hammer back to Thor.
Yeah.
That's also, like, back in time. But what I wanted to say is, like, man, when Captain America started, like, grabbing the hammer and going nuts, I was like, but he was like, I loved, like, first the crazy fucking shield hammer combo, then he summons lightning from down, and then more hits, and then lightning from up, like, from the sky. I was like, holy fucking shit, man. He's like, he like, natural. Like, he always held it. he was watching Thor the whole time, and just in his head, man, like, yeah, like, one day I'm gonna have this hammer, man, and then I'm gonna go nuts. He was already preparing these combinations, man. He know what he was? A true paladin.
Yeah, paladin.
That was he was, man. Yeah, like shield and hammer, man, like a true paladin, and, like, summoning lightning from above, man. Like, I fucking loved it. When that scene came in the cinema, I was watching with my friends. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned that, I feel like that's the power of on the superhero movies when they make, like, a really good combination of different powers. Because essentially what they did was, hey, now this guy who you've seen how he fights for all these movies, he now has Thor's hammer, and then they just blended that into, like, all the things that he already did. And I think, like, the kind of like the other thing that it reminded me of, and it's for a different movie, it's on one of the X-Men's when they go through time. I remember on that movie there were a lot of people. There were like a lot of superheroes, and one of them could make portals. So while they were fighting, there were, like, people jumping through portals and people moving things through portals, and it was all happening in conjunction with, like, everyone's powers. And I feel like those are the scenes that really like
really dope.
That feel really cool because you're seeing, like, all of the teamwork combined into the execution of the powers and the use of them.
Yeah,
like
I love that too,
like, man. Assemble, bum 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 bum.
The scene with, like, I feel like another similar scene is, like, when Spider-Man is getting helped by everyone as he's, like, swinging around with the gauntlet.
Yes, like they're playing hot potato with the gauntlet, right? Just running around. Everything. I mean, all the coolest parts just were relegated to that last scene, right? So if we're talking about, like, straight up action, it's just that. And like, to me, the highlight moment, because I remember thinking about this when I got out of the theater, was the Ant-Man punch to the Chimera thing. He just, like, goes big and, like, gives it up, like, just punches, like, oh my god, it's so cool. He just punches and falls to the ground, and I was like, whoa, that was, like, I mean, he did a lot to help in the movie, right? But that was his moment of coolness. Just one punch, He was like One Punch Man right there.
You know, now that you mentioned that, I was watching an interview that he was in, and he was joking about like a fan theory, but I don't know if it's like a joke fan theory or if they made it up on the spot or what. But essentially, it's like a theory in which what Ant-Man did to beat Thanos was he would like shrink himself small enough and then climb into Thanos from his pants and then grow super large and then just immediately beat him. So wouldn't that
that could work? Just going through his head, through his ear, and then just grow big, and that's it. Instant kill.
Yeah, done. You know, movie over like 5 minutes in.
Yeah. You're right. That could actually work. That could have worked. Yeah.
Explode for time.
Man. One thing I want to give credit to is like again to the time travel thing. What I liked about that also is that it was not introduced like, you know, like here somebody built a machine for specifically that. It was more like a side effect of a different experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it with the quantum realm, whatever. That's actually by shrinking how they explained it and how they're doing it. It's just completely different than all the other time travel explanations, you know, like the flux compensator in Back to the Future or whatever, you know. Like here, it's the first time that actually time travel got like somehow explained, even though nobody really understands it. But like, I kind of feel like I do now understand it, like, you know, with the shrinking down and going to the quantum thing and coming somewhere else out. So it's kind of tangible, you know, the time traveling in this movie. So they did a good job with that thing. It came out surprising. I did not expect that.
Yeah, and I feel like they explained it very easily, because essentially what they said is, hey, if you're here today and then you go back in time, that's not the past, that's still like your present, because you're almost like your line of time is still moving forwards, and you're going to the past, but it's still like your present or something like that. So they kind of like try to take like I feel like a more approachable way of looking at it. That said, I do feel like even though I feel like the way they explained it, and then the fact that Captain America just stayed there, and then he was there again, like when, like just sitting there, like the old version of him, I feel like that was the opposite, almost like the opposite of what they said, you know? That I feel like there's something kind of weird about him sticking around and not messing things around.
Good point. I actually researched that a little bit, and how they explain it is this, that he kept the suit and the pimp particles after bringing all the stones back. He lived out his life with Peggy, and then he took the suit again to come back into the original timeline.
Oh, okay. Oh, I can take that. I can accept that.
So yeah, me too. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And I love that he had like a happy ending, and now he's basically old Captain America, like old man Cap, and I hope it's gonna come.
I wanted to say something about
time travel.
Time travel. That's how my mind goes when I hear time travel. And you know, I don't even think it's impossible or anything like that in real life or something. I mean, what is time travel, right? But probably time travel is gonna be one of those things that if we ever discover it, it's not gonna be like anything we've imagined. But
yeah,
but you know,
that's true.
Actually, speaking about that, little side note, I guess I've been thinking about new technologies and how there's always a subset of people that are just against them and say it's never gonna happen, even though history has taught us again and again and again and again that, you know, like like some things come out of left field, things just end up working in one way or another, or even something better comes out. it's like, I'm talking specifically about Google Stadia, which is like this platform they're building to stream games. So you can stream games to any device, and the power of the device is completely not completely, but like 99.9% irrelevant, because everything is running on servers. And
on the cloud.
Yes. And everybody, there's a subset of people that are skeptical, and then there's a subset of people that are sure it will never work. But I'm skeptical too. Like, I don't think games will play very well right now, but also I know, like, it's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
That, like, everything is just a matter of time.
And you did put the right now on it. I also feel like that's kind of like a comical thing, and I feel like all throughout my life, when someone has like told me, "Oh no, that thing is impossible," I'm like, "How the fuck do you know? Are you like the expert on this?" Because in an example that I was thinking recently is, just a few years ago, dinosaurs were lizards, and now they're chickens.
And now they're chickens, yeah.
And so just some years ago we were absolutely convinced that we knew enough about dinosaurs where they wouldn't be like a big change, and then suddenly, they're actually birds. They actually resemble birds way more than they actually resemble lizards. We don't even know where we got lizards from. Sorry, guys. And it's like, how can anything that comes from our understanding of, we kind of mentioned it last time, of history, but also sciences and all that, be set in stone if we can't really explain most of it as much as we probably want to.
Yeah. So that's time travel.
And I wonder if for time travel, because you kind of mentioned that it's probably gonna be like something way different than what we think about. I wonder if it's gonna end up being something more like VR, in the sense that time, like, the only reason we can perceive that there's a past is because we have memory of it. So if we wouldn't have the memory of it, we wouldn't know that things have happened before. So I wonder if that's like the key to like time travel, just being able to somehow get into a memory and experience it as if it was happening, and that would effectively be like, I would imagine, like pretty similar to time travel, if not the same thing. Because I wonder if also, like, with all the information that your subconscious gathers, if it could also like emulate how people would behave and how things would be happening and all that. So like your subconscious would do like essentially all the work. You just have to be in an environment in which you feel like you're there instead of here.
Oh wow! Oh, it's a good point. Like the subconscious mind being able to compute everything.
That's one of the mind fucks from Rick and Morty, right? Like the episode where they are in this arcade, and in the arcade there's one game where you live the entire life of some guy, and in real life it's a few minutes, but you actually like live that, and Morty's like freaking out after, like, what happened, and
where are my kids?
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like think about that. What if when we die we wake up and we were just playing like some game? Oh, that's the thinking, like life is virtual reality or something. But like, if you compress all that, that's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know.
Now that you start talking about Rick and Morty, that scene, you remember when Rick started playing and people were like, "Oh, look at him, he doesn't even have a social security number." It's like,
he's going off the grid.
Fuck, I loved it, man. I loved it, And people freak out because of that kind of stuff. Rick and Morty is also fucking amazing. It's also fucking amazing.
Yeah, that show makes you think, really, like makes you consider weird shit. That actually it's weird shit, not dumb shit.
And it's funny because Yeah, and it's, it's funny because in his garage he has like the box of time travel stuff, but they never do time travel. But it's always like kind of present.
And I think at some point they mentioned something about why they don't time travel. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think complexity or something.
yeah. I think in the episode that they are like in his brain, and there's something about that, right? Like maybe because also I know. Anyways, I changing the topic again, but yeah, I think there's an explanation for why he doesn't time travel. He hasn't, or he won't, or maybe it's just because if you do it, it changes nothing because you would have done it anyway. So maybe it's kind of that paradox.
I wonder if it's that one episode where they have like a bunch of realities happening at the same time. And that happened because they like fucked around by stopping time. So I wonder if that's the episode where they talk about it. Because I also remember the people that made the episode, they said that episode was really fucking annoying to make because of all the things that were essentially like happening at the same time and needed to be like in synchronicity, but not really. And I think kind of like now that I'm going over it in my head, I think the other part to that is that they were trying to say, hey, time travel is really confusing or really annoying. So this is an episode to kind of like portray that, and then we don't want to do it ever again.
Yeah, annoying is a good word for it.
Season 2, episode 1.
I like,
just as people know.
Also, another thing I like about Rick and Morty that it didn't dawn on me until like very well into the seasons is that he's the only one with the portal gun. Like he's the only being in the universe, I think, that has a portal gun, and that's kind of what makes it important and interesting, and because it's not just like randomness, but it's like this person is like unique in that sense. But then there's a lot of him around. That's why there's a whole citadel, and that whole episode, it's like my mind was blown all the time. Because if you think about like all that they display, you can find like the illogical logic that makes it. It's like, okay, so if they have portal guns and they are from all these realities, then yeah, there's infinite Ricks. So there could be a planet of just Ricks, and it makes sense. I'm Mortys, and it makes total sense in that aspect that it's kind of like crazy to think about it, but then it's like, yeah, but it makes sense. They just thought about it, That's how brilliant this show is in some way.
I think really like my favorite thing is how they're all really fucking smart, but then they have like such mundane problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I enjoy actually that, as Rafa said, they're super smart, and with the mundane problems that, like travel for all these parallel universes. And Morty, man, he basically has like two issues, like either like going crazy adventure with his grandfather, or how he could make Jessica fall in love with him. So it's like this, like this teenage problems, like, oh man, I really want to date her, but like on the other side, like my grandpa is pulling me to this different dimension again, and losing all the shit. So I like his high school problems.
Yeah.
So the show is great, man. It's fucking great.
Speaking of that, and Eduardo was mentioning the thing about he's like the only one that has a portal gun. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's kind of like, I feel like very particular, is that no one seems to like be fazed by the fact that he has a portal gun. That he will like face into school and then out of school, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, cool," and and no one's like, "Oh, we need to like stop that," or wow, that's surprising. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this guy does that," and he has these friends that are from all over the universe. And he's just teleporting everywhere, but they're like, yeah, that's Don't make me one.
That
That's
that
fine.
make me. That's like
You
his
got one.
superpower, right? Actually, I'm laughing about because you mentioned school, and I just thought about the math teacher.
Wasn't there the scene where I think they go in his dreams? And
Yeah.
And then no, not that one. The
bird person.
The one where they the one I think it was episode 3 or 4 in the first season when they go into the virtual reality. Exactly, virtual reality. Where do you remember the scene?
Were they in the virtual reality with these guys that they put them there?
Yeah. The aliens to put them into this virtual reality.
I think we lost him, but I think he's talking about the one where, because there's a scene with a teacher where like
they go into
Morty says something
into their dreams. That's
no. It's the one where they're trying to like steal the information from Rick, so they put Morty, him, and Jerry on the virtual reality.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Because I think there's a scene in that where like the professor, Morty's like math professor, he like asks him like, "Oh, what's 2 + 2?" And then Morty says something, and then he's like, "Yeah, you're correct."
Yeah, exactly. I was going for that one. Yeah. Yeah, 2 + 2, 4. Yeah, fantastic. I was. And Jerry's life, just like he had like the best day of his life in a simulation that run on minimum capacity. It's like like my favorite scene is really like when he gets the pitch for the apple stuff. Are you hungry for apples? And then he's like, he's so happy. He goes back to have sex with his wife, and then she's like basically like a puppet just laying there, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and then he's like, "Are you hungry for apples?" That was so good. That was so good.
And then he suddenly has like an existential crisis because like everything's going on too well.
Yeah, he realized something is up.
No. He got the Apple Award, and then he got pulled out of the simulation.
Yeah,
and
so I think
that fucked him up.
He's like shit. Like I don't deserve this. And then he goes back to his boss, and he's like, "Man, I don't deserve this." And the boss is like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "I should be fired." And the boss is like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Oh fuck no, I should be promoted."
Yeah.
And the boss is still like, "Yeah."
I should get an award. I should get an award like an Apple Award.
Yeah. And when the scene ends, like the boss starts like walking, like lagging against like the wall and the desk and all that.
For the table.
That's my favorite part about the whole episode. Like the people lagging. The mailman say like hi or something every time.
My man.
Yeah, my man. And when the music starts playing, what was George Michael? I think, I don't know, like the soundtrack. Man, I'm very bad in doing music, but like when the scene plays, fuck, when he gets the pitch and he goes back to his wife, a certain music is playing. Do you remember the song?
I don't remember, but I know what you mean. That the song is like super generic or something like, and he's singing it like.
It's like it's like beep boop beep beep or something like that.
Good morning or something.
I'm gonna try and find it, man. But like as mentioned, man, that was fucking hilarious, man. Fucking hilarious. Yeah, Rick and Morty got me good, man. A couple of times, man. They got me good.
I feel like I always avoided it because I kept hearing people talk about it. And I was like, oh man, yeah, whatever. It can't be that good. And then I we binged watched it at the martial arts school in China, and I was immediately drawn in by just the little details that just little things that would happen on the background. I'm trying to think of like one of them, but I can't think of any of them right now, other than the one where when Morty's mother gets divorced from Jerry, and Jerry's just kind of like standing there, and then the wind blows, and there's something in the wind that says,
"Loser." Or like the moment where the wolf eats Jerry's alimony check instead of actual food. like that took me a moment to get it, but I think Jerry has like a bag of chips or his like check from unemployment, and then comes like a dirty wolf or something, and he's like, the wolf like wants to eat his check, and Jerry just says like, but one will give you sustainment, the other one will give you no like it won't feed you at all, and you still want to eat that.
Oh, I remember one scene that was like a small detail when they're doing it's not called Avengers, Vindicators. There's a scene in which Morty gets carried by the guy that's like a million ants, and when he gets dropped by a million ants, he has a reaction on his face, like he's mortified of like he was just in this colony of ants and that's how he was moving around, and it just happens for like a split second, you know, and no one acknowledges it. It like, just kind of just happens. yeah, exactly.
Oh man, so shit. I found the song on YouTube. The scene with the. I'm gonna play it a little bit in a second. Making loud.
Sold my first pitch. Slow down.
Looking good.
My man.
Do you hear the music in the background?
Hello.
Guess who just sold the Apples campaign?
No, I don't hear the background music.
Me.
Oh, fuck.
Wasn't a rip-off of...
My man. Doesn't matter.
Here is some human music.
And this is the reason, like I feel it sounds a little bit cliche to say this, but I feel like the show is smart, like really, really, really fucking smart in a way, and you and you kind of have to maybe not be smart, but know like a bunch of information about, or maybe the show will teach you, right? But about like how realities might work or how we imagine they might work, and that's kind of what the show does on top of everything else. It just suggests like crazy things that have kind of like a logical base to them. They're not completely outrageous if you kind of allow yourself to look at them from a certain point of views. And it's, I don't know, I really
and I think also like the dynamic with Rick and Morty, in which Rick makes everything sound obvious. I think that might also be playing into us, even though we're the ones watching. That he makes it sound like so, like, hey, this is, of course this works
matter
like
of
that,
fact,
you know?
right?
Yeah, exactly. That I wonder if that bleeds into us, and we're like, oh yeah, of course that makes sense.
Actually, that might be right. Like a little bit of conditioning. Actually, in that episode where they're in the virtual reality, like right at the end when they're in the ship, he says like, "Oh, I need water, this and that," and then Morty runs to the back and brings the things, and Rick just says, "Oh wow." Like what a coincidence that we just had these things laying around, and you know, you might not catch that the first time, but then you realize, oh, he knew all this time, you know, like he's fucking smart, like he's always on top of, like he's like this character that is actually awesome, but he's completely self-loathing and completely careless, so he kind of balances out in a way, like you cannot really admire him, but in a way he's like, fuck, he's smart and he's on top of things, you know?
Yeah. I think kind of like my favorite example of almost like that idea is on, I think it's like the end of one of the seasons, maybe like the end of the last season or something, when he's fighting the United States government, and he's
What is this?
Yeah, I just want to throw that in. Keep on.
good timing. When he's fighting like the United States government, and he's like in the Oval Office, and one of the bodyguards is like approaching him, and he's like, "Don't touch me, like you're gonna die." And the president
There's
is like,
nothing after.
he's not a god, just get him. And the dude just touches him and falls over and dies. And everyone's like, what the fuck was that? And he's like, it was instant death. And he was, and everyone's just so confused that the guy didn't just like crawl over or anything. He just dropped. And I feel like that's such a scene of, hey, you know, this dude is at like another level of, you know, threat, or I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. And I'm trying to be careful not to say that he's a god, but you know, he has a lot of traits
mighty.
that might make you think he's one.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
that scene, man, loved also. It was so funny, man, when they said like, what happened? He just died, you know, and they're like, and then like why, you know, because like, you know, it's called death. It is a deterrent. It's like, but like, why was death a deterrent, you know? It's like, you know, like the other guy was like, why didn't you just like make him unconscious? And it's like, you know, like everybody wants to get knocked out, but nobody wants to die.
Thinking about how quickly the guy just drops.
It's like, he's like, don't touch me, man. It's like, there's nothing after death, you know. It's like, he's just gonna die, man. It's like, everything turns black. It's like, that was fucking hilarious, man. Oh man, one of my favorite episodes, the one with the worms, you know, the ones that implant the memories in your head.
Yeah.
And the whole episode played in their house.
Oh,
and just
my
like,
God.
you know, with like,
yes.
Mr.
The
Poopy
parasites.
Yeah, parasites, yeah. Mr. Poopy Battle. Poopy Battle.
They have Mr. Poopy Pants there.
That's. I feel like that's my favorite scene of the whole show. The ending.
Yeah.
Where like where like the mom is, like looks at Mr. Poopy Pants and shoots him, and it's like, oh fuck, he's actually like a character. And then she's like shaking in the kitchen, just drinking wine and crying.
And I loved also Jerry. Jerry called, you know, the ambulance and was like, please send somebody over. My wife shot a long friend or whatever, like a family of the friend or something like that. Friends of the family. And you know, the best part was like, he was part of the intro of that episode.
Yeah, he was.
And yeah, and so you know, like you would think like he's not real like the whole fucking time, right? But you see him like they go on adventures to get into intro. So he's like has a special place. So he was like, yeah.
When he appears again and again. Mr. Poopy
But
Pants.
you know,
they
like,
played the whole episode to that scene. Because when that scene happens, you're like, oh yeah, he's definitely a fake. Oh shit, no.
Yeah, he's fucking bleeding like crazy, and then he gets real serious. But
yeah.
That, oh my God, that episode is so crazy. Like, you remember the time, and then it's always, oh no, memories, and then there's more weird people, and then there's more weird people each time. And then Jerry is real because Jerry has like a lover.
Who is also like the husband of his wife.
The actual husband, yes. Oh my god! What is this? This is so good. Shit, we definitely have to watch again and just kind of like be more fresh because there's so many crazy things that I remember. Like at the episode of that at the start of that episode, Rick just says like, "Well, I know Mr. Poopy Pants for sure is real," and you know from the start you're thinking like, "No, he's the first one that's fake because we never seen this motherfucker." that's the really that episode is fucking.
You already his name, Mr. Poopy
Pants.
Mr. Poopy Pants.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Now I have a question. All of you watch Rick and Morty. And yes. I'm not sure. What I've noticed, nobody else made this observation, but that's why I'm curious if you guys made this observation. Who is smarter, Rick or Morty?
I'm just gonna say Rick because Rick.
Okay.
I know what you're gonna answer, Darko, because I've heard this before, but I think it's Rick. I also think it's Rick.
Okay, I'm gonna make a case, man, where it's gonna fucking blow your mind away. And I think, man, I feel like I'm the only one who noticed this shit, but that can't be. There are like certain scenes in the show that indicate, man, that Morty is actually smarter than Rick. One scene was, for example, in that episode with the parasites. Rick did not figure out which ones are real and which ones are fake. And Morty was the guy who was like, he killed the first one. And then he said like, why did you kill him? And it's like, because, with you, Rick, I don't have any pleasant thoughts, but with these ones I have.
Yeah, any pleasant memories.
Right. That's one thing where like, oh, he figured it out, right? He doesn't have pleasant memories with them. And the one that really stood out, sometimes, like, for example, he says something smart and Rick tells him like, to shut the fuck up, but he's actually right. With like, there was like the episode with the, interdimensional TV thing, where they need some kind of crystal to make it work. And like Morty was like, right. And Rick was like only 20% accurate. Something like that, and then there was this scene, and that's the scene that really gives it away. Do you remember with the antimatter being?
Yeah.
With the Corompulus Michael, who was like the killer.
Yeah.
Which was fucking amazing.
Here I go killing again.
And he has like his own like ritual that he goes through, like,
he prays, and I think he looks at a picture of like a lady, like a wife or something, and then he's like, oh, here I go killing again. Like he can't control himself.
But in that episode, okay, the antimatter being was capable of reading minds, right? And
oh yeah, I remember that.
And there was a scene where the antimatter being tried to go in Rick's head, and Rick tried to think different thoughts just to distract him. Not that he doesn't get in his head, but at the end of the day, the antimatter being was like, no matter what you do, I'm always going to be in your head. You can't avoid me. Like, I was going to read what you mind. And so Rick was not able to deceive the antimatter being. At the end of the episode, Morty takes the gun and talks with the antimatter being, who then tells him, he's gonna go to the other dimension, bring his people, and then gonna kill everybody. And he shoots him. He kills him. The antimatter being in
the middle of a trip. Yeah.
And he was not able to read Morty's intentions of him killing him, even though he had them.
There we go.
So Morty was able to deceive a mind-reading being.
Like maybe they're smart in different ways.
Exactly.
Or maybe there's like different things at play. But then I guess it's the flip side to that is that there are some hints that maybe the Mortys are smart, because there's also like that Morty who's like the like evil Morty.
The villain, the actual antagonist, I think, of the entire series at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It seems like
That who knows if that's not a rare thing for Mortys to be that smart, because I think his Rick was also like just a robot, or maybe I don't know, maybe what happened to his Rick, but he was using like a robot Rick that he was controlling. So who knows how many are that smart?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I believe? That actually Mortys have more potential, but in that episode with evil Morty, the first time he shows up, you remember the episode?
Which one again?
I think it must be in season 1, episode 10 or something. I'm not sure, where evil Morty has this dome full of Mortys.
Oh, where he shows up the first time. Yeah.
And where at the end of the episode they got saved, whatever, and Rick tells his Morty, like our Rick tells his Morty, hey, you the when I'm the Rickest Rick, you're the Morty's Morty, something like that, blah blah. And then Morty gets like really like excited, and then Rick tells him like, yeah, but don't get arrogant, like arrogant Mortys mean nothing good. And I think like the evil Morty was actually, like understanding he's smart, was getting arrogant, and by him getting arrogant, man, he turned into like the evil. He was like, he understood like, hey man, you know what? I'm actually a lot smarter, but Rick let me always believe that I'm stupid. And then he got like, you know what? I'm going to take now like the hand. And I think he's the one Morty that actually realized that he's smart, and the other ones didn't realize it. That's what I believe.
I could see that.
Again, the ultimate being man. That's the biggest thing, man. Case, man. He deceived the mind-reading being.
Yes, but that could mean he has no mind. I think they play to that as well. Like,
or that the being just didn't see him as a threat. It's kind of like what ran through my mind. So it didn't even like really try to like read his mind, because I think in that scene they're like doing that trip, right, where he's kind of like singing, and then they're kind of like floating, and things are happening. So I think they're kind of like tripping out, and then he gets shot. So I feel like there's a few ways we can slice it, but we won't know until we know. Cause
True.
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out. I think I'm right. Look, getting arrogant, man. Fuck, man. You know what I loved about Endgame with the whole Marvel thing? Just bring it back to the movie. That there was like a 11 years plan, whatever, and they actually started and finished it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, dude.
They fucking
Thank
did
you,
it,
God.
man.
And yeah, go for
I just want to say, first time ever that somebody tried to pull something off like this. Fantastic job.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the way that it needed to be. And I think I heard that it was like a huge gamble for them, and that they were like at a really bad spot when they started it. But if you look at kind of like how the comics work, they do that kind of shit. They have their own stories, but then their stories overlap, and so that's kind of like what they did with the movies. And kind of like, I feel like to seal the deal with all the years that they put into that, I really like the ending where they did the credits, but then they did like really badass credits for the main Avengers.
Yes.
And it was like, hey, this is the ending for these guys. Let's give him a moment. Let's give him like almost, let's immortalize them.
With the autograph, with the autograph and the signatures and everything. I was just thinking like, wow, if I had to put my signature there, it would be like the saddest thing ever.
The legends,
really,
man.
like that was really cool.
That was really fucking badass.
It's like they are really making way for a new thing, like they really committed to kind of end it, even though there's like supposedly a Black Widow movie coming or stuff like that. But it's probably like supplemental thing. Like I don't see them revisiting this universe like within this decade or more. You know, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't think they should either, but whatever.
I wonder if what they're gonna do is that they're just gonna use new heroes and make a story revolving around them, just changing. Because I think also like what was going on is that a lot of the actors of the main characters were like, we're done with this. We want to finish this thing. We don't want to keep doing this thing forever. So I think that's even why some of the characters died along the way, because they wanted to like finish.
Yeah, makes also sense because they're real humans and humans die, and not like comic book, like enemies, and like they cannot do it for like 100 years. Like Son Goku is doing his shit since 82 or something, in Dragon Ball, and that would not be possible for like a human being.
Now, my only curiosity is that if they stay in the same universe, then how can you justify not bringing any of the other heroes? Like not acknowledging that they are around. And I know that we have the Spider-Man movie coming also that actually touches on Endgame stuff. So I'm just kind of curious to see how it goes more than anything.
See. I think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna go do a good job. And
yeah, I think there's more Black Panther and maybe Doctor Strange coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah,
I would love Avengers.
I would love to see a movie with old Captain America, because he's aging differently. I would love to see he looked actually pretty young, pretty good for like his whatever 70 years that I spent in the past. I would really cool to be you remember the Wolverine movie? Yeah, something. Logan. Yeah, exactly, something like that. Like Captain, just Captain.
Commander.
Now that you say
General.
that, I was thinking about this kind of like joke that in the movies, or I guess in the comics, it's the same thing. Wherever a superhero goes, a villain just happens to show up there. There's something gets fucked up, and like an example is that the new Spider-Man movie, he goes to London or something, and he goes to London, and then there's a shit show that happens there, and then he needs to be Spider-Man. And I was like, man, isn't that a thing that wherever like heroes go, something happens? But then, now that you're saying that, Darko, I'm like, because I was thinking Captain America went back in time, and then nothing happened, so he kind of just lived out his life. But maybe shit did happen, Maybe there in that timeline there were a bunch of villains and shit that happened that he had to deal with, and then he ended up old, and then that's why at the end he's like, have the shield. I'm done with this shit.
I'm done with this shit. Yeah. Had an adventure.
At the same time, maybe, but I think he dealt just with with small incidents because he had to keep himself low key. Otherwise, like people would know Captain America is around.
Yeah, no, it's true. There's probably definitely gonna keep using those heroes that didn't win too much, like Black Panther, Spider-Man already, Doctor Strange, but. And I guess it wouldn't make sense to start just a new universe right off the bat, because then you have to reintroduce like new Captain America, new Thor, and then that's really something you do after 10 years or so, or 5, I don't know.
And I don't know, but I wonder if they're gonna combine that universe with the X-Men, because they also seem to be like playing the X-Men card very well right now.
Yeah. I think they got the rights for X-Men now. Or they bought the studio that owned Fox. X-Men. Yeah, exactly, bought Fox. Right.
they just bought the whole company.
Yeah, fuck it, man.
Disney was like you won't give us Spider-Man, then fuck you. We're gonna oh wait, no, Spider-Man's Sony.
Sony, yeah.
So you guys won't give us Spider-Man, X-Men. You guys won't give us X-Men, so we're just gonna start buying shit, and eventually we're gonna own it, as we own everything else.
Now they own the building and the people.
Yeah, and right, man. Again, I loved the movie, man. You know, one of my favorite scenes in the movie was also Hawkeye turning into Ronin and just being this vigilante who's just killing criminals.
You know, I feel like something that was really cool about that was the subtlety, because the reason he went all crazy like that is because he was probably like, what kind of bullshit is this that my family is all gone, but then all these criminals are still around.
Yeah.
And so he went fucking crazy, messing them up. But they didn't really dive into that too much. They just barely touched on
I
it.
would love a movie about that. I would love a movie where it goes just like, you know, like where it's like from good guy in retirement to like family gone to like realizing what happened on this planet because he wasn't a part of the whole story. And then go seeing actually all these criminals survive the snap. Yeah, and it's like, fuck this. Fuck, I love it. I fucking love it. Ronin, like, I hope like Black Widow and Hawkeye are gonna be together in the movie and doing the Budapest thing. They talked about it in space. You know, when they go to space, they say like, this is better than the time in Budapest. So I kind of hope that's gonna happen. What else? Let me think. I don't know, man. Amazing journey. The whole thing, just amazing journey.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm glad that this is over. Thrones. I feel like there's something kind of interesting that happened in which we had this 10-year journey pretty much with Marvel, and then also like a similar journey with Game of Thrones, and they both ended months from each other. And I'm like, man, I'm fucking glad this is kind of like over. That we're kind of like done following the story, and sure, there's gonna be like other stories, probably, but for now, it's like good, you know.
And Star Wars ends at the end of the year too.
But wait, but then
the Skywalker saga. Thing. The Skywalker saga.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
yeah, because I heard that the people from Thrones are making Star Wars movies.
Yes.
The writers.
Yes.
So
TNT.
And I think they said like another trilogy. So I wonder what the next trilogy is going to be then.
What I think is that they won't touch Skywalker anymore, right? That was the first 9 movies, or not first, because there were others in between. But these 9 movies is just Skywalker, and now they're gonna touch a lot of things. I think they're gonna do something with like Mandalorians, which is the race of the clones. Where are they Mandalorians? No, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's so much to do there. And to be honest, I've liked the spin-off movies. I even like Solo. I thought it was good. It was fun.
You know, when I was watching... Yeah, exactly. When I was watching Solo, I was like, shit, I'd be part of this universe. This seems like a fun group of people to just hang out with, you know?
I did not watch the movie.
Go ahead.
You should check it out.
Okay, so don't spoil it now for me.
I mean,
everyone dies.
No, it's Game of Thrones, man. That's a Game of Thrones spoiler.
just like Game of Thrones, yeah, everyone just gets their head cut off.
Fuck, it's so good.
So Game of Thrones is over?
Yeah,
man. So like you missed the ending. So you missed the ending, so we cannot discuss it now. But it's over.
Cool.
So
I think they want to do like spin-off stuff.
Yeah, like free series.
I don't know exactly of what, but that series has a lot of like backstory that they could get into like from way at the past. That said, you should finish it. You should watch those. Yeah, you should watch those 16 episodes because there's stuff going on.
Cool. Okay,
that's a good way to put it.
I'll do it. Maybe I'll watch it.
Okay.
Let me just
so,
write it here.
Guys, should we call today?
Yes.
Yeah, or a night.
Yeah, or a night. Yeah.
We call it a day night.
Okay.
Endgame.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, this was officially Casually. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
I was waiting to see if anyone was gonna say it.
Look at your mom in the eye if you have her still, and give her a big hug.
And then whisper in her ear. Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.